What's up, everybody? Evan here for Grips.com, continuing with Project Get Me Stack. Today's presentation is all about playing in loose live games and how you can maximize your expectation in them. This is a question I've received many variations of in the past. It's a very common question. So I think a lot of people are going to benefit from this video. Sorry to have kept you waiting for so long. Let's read that question right now. Evan, the videos you put out are unprecedented, and just like everyone else, I appreciate them immensely. I'm actually a bit scared that they get taken down one day because I believe they are that good. Thank you. Thank you. Grinding live is all I know, and as of recently, I've been really connecting the dots. Allow me to be contradictory here. I'm looking for advice on how to tackle a table full of loose, passive players. It feels like a school of fish can take down a shark, and that's exactly what's been happening to me lately. Isolation seems nearly impossible. Even when I 3-bet for value, more often than not, I'm getting called by 3 players and looking at a multi-way pot. On the flip side, when my isolation attempt does work, I only end up winning a small pot. Well, what did you think was going to happen? I want to know how to adjust to tear these guys down. Will I be bleeding chips if I start playing my high implied odds hands too frequently? Is it right to play aggressively with our draws when we know our fold equity isn't there? Or maybe I'm overthinking and should just play tight aggressive. I just can't seem to tell how to adjust. Aggression, selection, and position is the recipe for success, but for some reason I can't switch gears correctly in a game filled with 3 or more loose passive players. Your insight is greatly appreciated on what adjustments I can make. I hope to hear from you to start stacking, and as always, thanks for your videos and your time. It's a good question. And now, there's something I feel I have to say because, like I said, I get so many emails about bad players and about not being able to auto print money and the whole, how is this possible if I'm so much of a better player than them thing, you know? So, reality check. Just because players are loose and even bad doesn't mean they're just gonna give you their stack every time you get dealt aces or if you flop a big hand. It also doesn't mean that you can just fold them off any hand just because you were able to put them on that holding. You know, you read him, so he should be able to fold. It's not like that. When you say things like, tear these guys down, it sounds like you're too caught up on asserting yourself as the man, per se. And this isn't what a true shark does at the table. That's probably why you mentioned the correct strategy, which is to probably just play tight aggressive, but you don't want to do that because that's not fun. You don't get to assert yourself. Remember, a true shark handles their business however necessary and doesn't worry about his or her ego. They just take care of business. Being a good player isn't just about having more knowledge than your opponent. It's not just about having put in more hours than your opponents. It's about knowing when to apply which moves, techniques, strategies, and against whom. A good player has many styles and knows when it's time to take on a different persona. Okay? Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the presentation because yes, there is an optimal way to approach this situation and you already kind of mentioned it. So you're like, where did he go? I'm here, I'm back. So let's start it off with something to think about, something deep, some dad thoughts. The question is, can a school of fish take down a shark? Technically, yes. Outnumbered 9-1 following a basic strategy, yes, you might get run down. But over the long run, it shouldn't be the case, because a shark will change their strategy to the one that will best beat the game. The shark who does not change his strategy will find himself often getting beat down by a table of fish. But the reality is, they aren't beating you. The school of fish is not beating you. You are beating yourself because you are unwilling to adjust and play the correct strategy. And your biggest competition at the poker table will most often be yourself. Now, with that out of the way, let's let that simmer while we move on to the specifics and why this setting may be giving you some difficulty. It's important to recognize that different settings require different strategies. The strategies taught online often aren't fully transferable to live without adjustment because the setting is different. Most online poker is played short-handed, while most live is played 9 or 10-handed. In full ring poker, in general, you will make your money by having better hand selection than your opponents, being able to pick good spots and play the right cards. It's pretty damn hard to run over a full ring table, especially when everyone has relatively deep stacks. With so many hands dealt, odds are pretty high that someone got dealt something good, and you can't just push someone around when he's got aces. Short-handed play, on the other hand, doesn't involve many premium hands. So in these games, yes, you can run the table, and if you properly focus on who you're playing against and playing in position, a strategy involving relentless aggression can work. Based on the players in the mix, the best strategy will always be changing. So don't be a one-trick pony. Develop your dimensions. The best strategy, in short, is going to be the opposite of what the general public is doing. Whatever all your opponents are doing, do the opposite. This is much like a lot of things in life. Stock markets, career choices, you name it. So, if the table is playing very weak tight, then implementing a loose aggressive strategy is probably the way to go. If, however, like in this case, the table is playing a very loose aggressive strategy, the best strategy will usually be to play tight aggressive. Yes, you have to play less hands. So, if you want to be able to dominate a table, what type of game should you be in? And how many players should there be at the table? It's for you to think about. I'm not going to post the answer. Your money and your winnings will come from one of two places. Your value bets, getting paid off when you've got it, or your bluffs, getting your opponents to fold when you don't got it. So again, going with our opposites theory, if the players in your table fold too much post-flop, then you want to be focusing on bluffing and semi-bluffing, using your fold equity because that's where your profits are going to primarily be coming from. If, on the other hand, your players call too much, they can't fold top pair, over pairs, heck, mid pair, then your money is going to come from making good value bets, pressing your pot equity, which means waiting till you're sure you have the best hand, then hammering away. Sometimes you got to be willing to wait, which is why hands with high implied odds are going to be the biggest money makers in these games. People can't fold marginal hands, so you'll get paid on your big ones. Yeah, you'll really get paid. So yes, play them, play those hands, see as many cheap flops as possible with the right drawing hands. Not just anything that looks pretty. Just because it's suited, just because it's connected, doesn't mean it's the right hand. Frequency will never be your issue. The key is not paying too much to see flops or to see your draws through, but going balls to the wall when you do get lucky enough to make your hand. Think of it like mining gold. You don't have to strike it hard many times to get rich. You want to visit as many sites as possible and scope them out for cheap. Use your small chips. But you don't want to waste your resources and your equipment on every potential mining opportunity. It would take too much energy to haul everything around all the time. So save your big boys, your big chips, for the site that looks like it's got the big score waiting for you. And use those chips to dig deep into your opponent's stack. This idea can also be applied for, big bluffs as well. Invest in the right site where that big payoff is waiting for you, and don't waste your resources on the sites that don't have it. Now, to get into specifics for the type of game we're talking about, now that the general theories are in place and you can have a greater understanding. First things first, you're going to want to embrace your opponent's predictability. It is a wonderful thing. If you allow it to frustrate you, then let's be honest, you've got a lot of work to do on your game. Because in my opinion, it doesn't get much easier and satisfying than playing in a game where everyone's cards are face up. Oh, and where they'll react exactly how you want them to when you make your bet specific sizes? Yeah, dream scenario. Remember, it's not about winning every pot you enter. It's not about, winning just because you got dealt a good pre-flop hand. This is a 7-card game, not a 2-card game. It's about making the best decisions based on what cards come out. It's okay to check fold ace king or jacks when the flop sucks for you and too many people are in the pot. Heck, it's okay to fold aces, but you have to be able to do it. So how can we manipulate the table? Well, if you want to build up a pot to set up a big payoff, if you hit, raise small, invite the callers, get them interested in a pot that's more than 5 big blinds in size. If, however, you want to isolate, get serious, straight to business. If you want to play a heads up pot, try jacking it up to 10 or even 20 times the big blind. It may seem crazy at first, but this is the only way to actually knock players out of the pot. And yes, you'll still probably end up with 1 or 2 callers pre-flop, but that's what you want. Also, they'll be much easier to fold out on the flop than if you'd raise to a quote-unquote normal amount, because facing a larger, more intimidating c-bet, they just won't want to tango. And then, to deal with one of the other issues from your question, you won't feel like you won just a small pot with your c-bets, because 40 to 60 big blinds is actually pretty big. So, get in the action with the right hands. If you don't know what these hands are, watch my video on pre-flop play and selection. And most importantly, since a lot of the people asking me about these sorts of questions have some ego-related stuff going on, the biggest adjustment to make for loose passive games is to get over yourself. Alright? Just get over yourself. You're just playing this game just like everyone else. As much as it may pain you to hear this, if you're the type of person who, wants to be the boss when you sit down at the poker table and show everyone how good you are, often this is a recipe for failure, and you're just playing into the hands of the fish when you do this, because you are literally beating yourself up. You're literally setting yourself up for failure. But since you're so good, you think that, well, it must be the bad players who are somehow miraculously beating you. It's not. You're doing it to yourself, because the answer for this game, this type of game, is so straightforward and so simple. It's like you'd be like, man, that can't be it. It can't be that easy. It is. Okay? And all the information is in this presentation, including a little bit more advanced stuff, but it's pretty simple. You don't have to bust out every trick in the book for a game where no one really knows what's going on anyway. Okay? And you don't always have to be the captain of the ship. And it's up to you to recognize when you do and when you don't. and we're back to me. So that's going to wrap it up. Some hard truths in there. I know. It's not fun to hear it. But honesty is the best medicine. So I hope you don't mind that I didn't beat around the bush. I was straight to the point. Now, if you have any questions for Project Get Me Stacking, please send them on over to evan@grips.com with the subject line Get Me Stacking. Hopefully, I can answer your question and help you get stacking. Also, let me know your thoughts on this video. Give me your feedback. Comments take no time to post, and they really help you out with your mind and your development. And also, if I upset you with anything in this video, if I pissed you off, flame it out. Flame it out. That's what the interwebs is for. So I'm not going to like reading angry comments, but go ahead. Post them. I'm honest with you guys. I expect you to do me that same favor. Be honest with me. Please subscribe if you enjoy these sorts of videos, and I'll keep coming up with new ones. I hope you found this video insightful and informative. As always, this has been Evan for grips.com. Same peace.
Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, how you had to get it stacking. The flops, I be smashing. The pots, I be blasting. Grips.com.